है बादा मस्त बादा आशा में अहमदियत चलता है दौर मीना ओ जाम अहमदियत.
Taco guys, Jazakallah for joining today. So got a bit of a packed one today, so we'll try to get through it as best as we can. Just going through the program. So first, we're gonna have a small discussion on the Friday sermon. As you guys know, it's quite an emotional one. I'm sure all of you guys have some things to say about it as well. But first, we'll just have a small presentation about that from Harish Shakir. And then, as usual, we'll have Khuddam news with Qasim. Have a small feedback session on the regional Ijtima. How was it for you guys? And then finish off with a small Kahoot at the end. But first and foremost, we'll just go to the Friday sermon summary. So I just request Haris if you can quickly share your screen, and then we'll get the conversation going on that.
Assalamu alaikum, Ravi Sahib.
Walaikum salam.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So I will now just quickly read a very brief summary of the Friday sermon, which was delivered today by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Khamis, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz. So Hazur stated, recently a very dear life devotee, Sayyid Ali Ahmed Saab, was martyred in Ghana, Africa, on the night between the 23rd and 24th of August. The MTA team, which was filming a documentary, was traveling when they were attacked by robbers who fired at them, injuring two people, including Sayyid Taleh Ahmed. On the way to the hospital, Sayyid Taleh Ahmed Sahib passed away. His Holiness Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Asr Aziz said that this was the first martyrdom of a worker from MTA International, as well as a Waqf-e-Noor UK. His two companions, named Umar Farooq Sahib and Abdur Rahman Sahib, are also injured. He was part of Nizam-e-Wasiyat as well as the Waqf-e-Noor scheme. He did his degree in biomedical and then his majors in journalism. Afterwards, he dedicated his life. He worked in different offices before being posted in MTA, where he used to make different documentaries. He was very passionate about his work and seeing it through, no matter the hardships he may have to face along the way. His focus was always to ensure that the work was carried out. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr Aziz said that a few years ago, Sayyid Taleh Ahmed wrote a poem in which he expressed his love for Khilafat. He started the poem by saying that he loved his Khalifa more than anyone else and ended by saying that perhaps his Khalifa will never know how much he loved him. Hazur Ayatullah Ta'ala bin Nasr Aziz said that even before Sayyid Taleh Ahmed's last words, he knew. He knew how much Sayyid Taleh Ahmed loved him and when he was filming with his camera and even when he met him without his camera. He could tell from the sparkle in his eyes and the light on his face, indeed from his very action, how much love he had for Khilafat. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah Haris, Jazakallah for that. It's almost impossible to justify Azur's Friday sermons, especially for today. As Azur mentioned, so many things. And we spoke about this in our regional Ijtima about I did a small talk on the life of Waqf Zindagis and how Huzur previously mentioned another person for the whole khutbah. And today again, Huzur mentioned Sayyid Taleh Ahmed for right from the start, right to the end. And you can see just from everything that he mentioned, how much he achieved in his life for someone who's only 31 years old. To have said so many things about him and to have mentioned all of his good qualities, it really made me personally reflect on myself and reflect about, what have I achieved in my life, and how can I attain such a status like that. But in reality, it's only Allah Ta'ala who chooses who his beloved are, and it's to him that Allah brought him back. So yeah, it's a very, very emotional one. I think Azur even said that even he was, he he always knew how much Dale loved Huzur, but he never knew it was to this level. But before I say anything myself, I just want to hear some things from you guys. Zoria, if I start with you, because I know we talked about this before as well. This would be good to share some of your feelings as well, and what impact this khutbah had on you personally.
So,
Nice.
yeah, so as we said, I think the main thing that inspired me was how we live our life according to worldly terms, and he just didn't care about any of the world, and he was just everything of his life was for Khilafat. Everything he did was for Jamaat, his passion, how he worked, and following on from Hazur when he spoke about on how he gave a talk at the Atfal rally. After khutbah, I listened to what he actually said in the YouTube video. It's on YouTube when he speaks about his experience with Hazur, and he speaks about how even when he had a parking ticket, he wrote a letter to Hazur, and someone told him to sum it up to not take Hazur's time up, and he just wrote that Hazur, pray for me, I have a financial concern. And Hazur had called him in, and he was very blessed of how close he was to Khilafat, and I guess he deserved it after how he lived his life.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that he mentioned about his qualities that you feel that you can also probably adopt into your life and work on as well?
Yeah, when the fact that he done biomedical science, and and he devoted his life to Jamaat, and he went into journalism. And I think one thing I adopted is because I do, inshallah, aspire to one day work for my life. So I think it doesn't matter what background you're from, you can always just go to Jamaat and devote your life. And I think that's the most inspiring part for myself.
Yeah, 100%. Because we mentioned so many things. I think one of the things which stuck out for me, which I personally want to really work on, is especially the story about how he mentioned about how when Hazur mentioned that Murabbis in particular should read 1 hour of Tahajjud. And one day when he walked into MTA, his colleagues realized that he was really tired. And one of the Murabbis asked him, why are you so tired? And he said, because Hazur instructed Murabbis to read 1 hour of Tahajjud. So I've started doing it as well. And I consider myself also on the same audience that Hazur addressed. So this left that particular Murabbi in such a state that he felt embarrassed. But this guy who's work with Zindagi, but he's acting upon the words of his Khalifa more than I am myself. And so this is what really shows us that Dale was someone who is so special. He said that even he would go as far as to say that he loved Khilafat more than some people who have so much knowledge, but they don't show that loyalty to Khilafat like he did. And this is something which is so important for all of us to know and for us to ponder over, is that how can we always develop our relationship with Khilafat, and how can we be amongst those people that when Hazur says something to always act upon it as well, no matter what stage it's at. So that's just one thing. I'll carry on dropping more points which Hazur said, but it'll be nice just to go over to a few of you as well. Sabur, are you able to talk at the moment?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Nice to hear your voice, Sabur. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm alright. I hope you're all well as well.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I was talking to your father, Maulana Abdul Ghaffar Sahib, just a few days ago about this incident as well, and he was just telling me about how it's impacted the people of Ghana, and how deep it hurt everyone to have a representative of Huzur in your country, and then for him to pass away on your land. Just how does that feel for you, and what are the emotions that, especially after this khutbah, for someone who is from Ghana as well?
Yeah, I think just like my dad said, and from people that I've spoke to in Ghana, everyone just felt like they all felt really bad about it and how it happened and how everything just unfolded. This was a person that was sent by Huzur, and as you can imagine how Ghanaians are with Khilafat and whatnot, and for that to happen, I mean, they feel like they've not done their duty to Khilafat, really. The people that I've spoken to, within MTA in Ghana, they just say, what, we feel so bad, like, we can't even, they don't know, like, they can't even be in the presence of Huzur just because they feel like it's their fault that this has happened. And I remember speaking to Forward in Ghana. He's basically just joined Ghana MTA from Nigeria. So he was just like, he
Yeah.
felt if he wanted to go with him as well on this trip, but for some reason he couldn't. So he said to Tali that, you know what, I wish I could come with you, my brother, but you carry on, and obviously when you come back, we do more tour in Accra, which is the capital. And so when he heard the news Forward, he's just said, you know what, if he was there, he could have saved. I'm like, listen, these things happens. It's Allah is written, and for you to say if you were there, you could have saved, something like that is not something we should really be saying right now. But it's not just Forward, but so many people that work within MTA in Ghana were just saying that, you know what, at least we could have done something. We could have do this. We could have do that. I just said to them, we have to accept it. That's how bad and distraught they're all feeling in Ghana. You know what I mean? It's just it is a heavy loss for the community, the world really. Personally, I just feel I was speechless. Just after I felt numb really after listening to Huzur Khutbah today. I didn't know him personally. I've seen him in MT. I never knew he was attached. He was Khandan or anything like that. I never knew whatsoever, but because he was just calm, kept himself and whatnot. You never really ask, but you do talk to him, but you don't talk, to a length. He's the type of person you see him, you feel like you can't even approach him in a way because of how that light within him. He was such a special human being. So after hearing, I just felt it was so like listening to Huzur today. I've never heard Huzur his tone like that before, never in any khutbah whatsoever. This is my first time. I would say after the loss of fourth Khalifa, that I've heard him speak or do a khutbah in this sense that got everyone really moving emotionally. Even he himself, like you could sense it from his voice. But we all pray that Allah grants him a love to praise and a love to place in paradise, inshallah. It's a heavy burden and a loss.
100%. Yeah, it's brilliant the points you made. I remember I was driving in the car because I was going to Leamington to do Jummah today. And Hazur said something, and it's like Hazur was like Dali was there and Hazur was addressing him in person.
Yeah.
And what I think was mentioned before about how the poem was written, and he wrote a secret poem and gave it to his friend and said, "Don't tell anyone this." And this bit really like struck a chord in my heart, and I felt really, really emotional that Dal is writing to Hazur, but he's not telling Hazur himself that, I love my Khalifa, but he will never know. And then for Hazur to turn around and say to him, like, I do know, and I do love you, and this kind of thing is incredibly, incredibly emotional. I'll just pull up the poem as well that he wrote, and I'll just share it with everyone. So as it goes, I'll just read it from the top. Tyler, he writes, I love my caliph more than the others. They only love, I'm only his lover. They crawl on his hand from far, they crawl to his hand from far icy coasts, a wonderful host supported by hosts. As mountains migrate for prophets and kings, when heaven comes near, they see him and sing. My silence migrate, but I love him more. Whole with holiness as my soothed soul soars. When they see his face, they weep and they cry. My heart beats to tears, but my eyes are dry. But by God's promise, I'm able to boast. I swear I can prove I love him the most. They truthfully tell, disclosing their love. Humble, he blushes, embarrassed enough. For his weary ears, ears surely prefer Durood and takbirs, Allahu Akbar. So their queue of lovers ends at this line. I keep my secret for his sake, not mine. The lamp in my night, forever aglow. I love my caliph, but he'll never know. Such a beautiful, beautiful piece by Talib there. And it's so nice that he kept it a secret, and he kept it for himself. And he's not one to ever show off in any single way. And I knew that because every time you see him, He's such a simple person, like Zaryab was saying, didn't have any care for the world. Anytime, any extra money would come, he would always want to, give it to the Jamaat or not have it in his hand. He was that kind of personality. And there are just some pictures of today from the burial. Mazur reading his janazah here, and then also at the burial site. Mazur actually went to visit himself for the burial, and stayed for a good over 40 minutes, just being there, being with the families and being with the loved ones. So it's honestly very, very touching. And here as well, Hazur mentioned a picture in his Friday sermon today, that when he looked back at the picture, he saw Tale here. Tale was only 13 years old. And he realized, how sincere and how loving he was, as someone who was brought up in the system and would always attend his classes right from a young age, up to now. So it was like he was always in the atmosphere and being brought up by Hazur himself. Something really, really emotional, and something I think Hazur must have felt really hurt by his loss, especially when he heard about it. Because Sabur, you were talking, I just wanted to show one video of him when he was in Ghana. He was on the back of a bus. So here's Taleh. Just play this video as well. So yeah. So I don't know if you heard the voice, because I don't know, my speaker's not working, but the gentleman here is saying, "This is Africa." The reason, because the way they're going on the car and the roads that they're on as well. So it's quite humorous, and you can see how much Dad is really enjoying his time over there as well. So just go to a few more people. So, do you have anything else to say on that, and anything else that people may have been saying?
Yeah, I think he's just a special human being, because Omar Farouk even said, like, what touched him the most was that as they were taking him, like Huzur mentioned in his khutbah as well, he kept on saying, "I love Huzur, I love Huzur. Make sure Huzur knows I love him so much." These was his constant words, to this guy that when he was like in his dying moment, like just kept telling him, tell Huzur I love him, and tell Mofan I love them too. But most importantly, he repeated tell Huzur I love him like about 3-5 times. They would say, so it goes to show that the love he actually had for Khilafat, man.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Even I think one of the reasons why he got the wounds was because he was trying to, because he knew how expensive the equipment was, and he didn't care about himself. He wanted to protect the work that he did, and he managed to, he even saved the work that he did, because he hid the laptop and other equipment under the chair of the car, and he was sitting at the back, so he quickly hid them, and he kept asking, "Is the equipment okay? Has the laptop been saved? Has my work been saved?" So all the time, right from the beginning, he was always concerned, not about himself, but always for the Jamaat, and always put the Jamaat first. And as Zira was saying, Sky was a biomedical student who went into journalism and then eventually worked his life. Someone who could have done anything with his life. A very, very bright and intelligent individual, but at the same time, so special, and loved the Jamaat and loved Khilafat so much. And we always talk about people like this in the past. They're only people of the past, or these stories you only hear with our ancestors. But this is living proof that any one of us, if we really put our minds to it, if Allah chooses us to, then we can always have that same love, or even more, in this very day as well. So again, just always try to remain attached to Khilafat and remain attached to Jamaat, and always question yourself about how and what you can do to always better yourself, in terms of establishing this connection as well. Jazakallah Sabur, Jazakallah Zaryab as well. Qasim as well. Qasim, were you able to listen to the Friday sermon today?
Yeah, I did listen to it.
And how did it impact you? Did you manage to pick out a few things which affected you?
Yeah, I did. I can discuss it in the news.
We'll wait for that. We'll wait for that then, inshallah.
Yeah.
We'll get to that soon. Kashif and Saqib, you guys able to talk? Wa alaikum assalam.
So I was actually going to Masjid Darul Barakat, so I was listening in the car. Then
Yeah.
what struck me like Hazur was like that this is guy like whenever he gets offered like watches or anything expensive, he will always be concerned like why am I getting it, like I don't want to like take it back and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's very like
Mm.
like he doesn't care about how much money he gets or what he gets. He's just very humble guy.
Mm.
Like I just feel like I've seen him somewhere, but I just haven't. I just know. I feel like I've seen him somewhere, but I haven't. I just feel like I know him from somewhere. And I think Azur also said
Yeah.
was it him who started the this week Azur, this week with Azur, like the series. Like he was mentioned
Mm.
Azur about something about this week with Azur. Like
Yeah. He's one. He said he's the one who initiated it,
yeah.
and that opened the doors of him
Yeah,
meeting Hazur as much as possible.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was a very clever thing.
Blessed in disguise. Like
Gee.
no one. Gee.
Uh, I think another amazing thing which was mentioned was that in MTA, because I've worked in MTA as well, Sabura has as well. People always look down upon the MTA news team, and they say that these guys, what are they producing? What are they doing? And there's memes on Instagram and stuff that I took that personally. So with him, he literally took it personally and saw it as a challenge that he will make MTA news something which everyone will look forward to. And now look, every single week people are looking so forward to this week with Azur, and to the point where Qasim always mentions it in his Khuddam news as well. But on top of that, all the incredible documentaries, Hazur said that sometimes he'll be working on multiple documentaries. Zishan and things like that, you've all worked in videography. You know how difficult it is just to produce one short clip of a few minutes. And Matale was so capable of, he was working on so many different documentaries at one time that people were so astonished. And it's all his dedication, all his heart, and how much passion he was giving into his work. So yeah, I think Sakib, I think you're probably with your brother as well when you were in the car going to Jummah. Is that right?
Yeah, I was.
Sure. Is there anything that you felt, as someone who's thinking about Jummah and things, did anything like Khalid lived his life that you could learn from as well?
I remember when Hazur mentioned his mother telling Hazur that when he first got his documentary in MTA, he was very excited. Like he was so happy that I'm getting something out of journalism and something with the Jamaat for sure. Which struck to me, I was like, okay, that's pretty good. That even the first thing that he ever got was like making a documentary was like really good. He thought he was getting close to Hazur, the Jamaat itself, like very close. I was like, it's very good. I actually like that.
Yeah, brilliant. MashaAllah, it's good. One thing about his martyrdom as well. I know I'm saying so many things. There's so many things to mention, but the one beautiful thing was about his father seeing in a dream that his son was martyred, Taleh. And before even saying it to him, Taleh came to him himself and said, "Did you see a dream that I was martyred?" And his father was shocked. Like, how did you know that I saw that? Because then Taleh said, "I saw a dream myself that I was martyred." So such was his connection, such was his love for the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that it's like Allah was preparing him right from a young age. And for me as a father as well, Sabur is a father here, and maybe a few others along the way, inshallah, one day. His wife was giving some accounts about how he was as a father, also as a husband as well. But he used to do small things which would always um, keep his children in the way of Allah and always keep them attached to Jamaat. For example, whenever they used to have a nice mulaqat vazur, he would always treat his children to ice cream or chocolates or something. But especially something which is, something I think this is God given, about how he would know stories about the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just off the top of his head, and how he used to relate them to his children. And he said whenever he would tell a story to his children about the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his wife says that he used to weep like a baby, that he used to weep so much that he used to become so emotional just when he used to relate these stories. And especially when he used to be in sajda and reading tahajjud or doing namaz, you could hear his voice from the other room and how much he used to cry. And that shows, how much of a person he was. He only showed it to Allah, and he wouldn't show it to anyone else. Anyone else you ask about him, you say, he's a funny guy, he's very joyful, he's always laughing or takes interest in things, but no one ever say that side of him because he doesn't show it to anyone. And that shows, especially from his poem, we see that his love for Khilafat and for Allah was very private, and it's something which is so beautiful as well. Yeah, I think Huda is on the call as well. Huda, are you able to unmute yourself as well, if possible?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum, Ravi Sahib. Sorry, I had to
Welcome,
speak to
Salam.
Regional Guide Sahib. So, sorry, what were you discussing?
Yeah, we're just discussing about the Friday sermon today. As someone who's, your father's also Murabi work with Zindagi, how did you manage to hear the Friday sermon or know about the passing away of Taleh as well?
Yeah, so I did. Yeah, I did read up on it as well. So yeah, definitely, it's sad news, and probably what I would say is it's not, though it's sort of a unique situation, it's probably not the first time something like this has happened. So I think it's putting it within the context of understanding sacrifice and the love for Khilafat and working for the Jamaat, and essentially he put his life into that, and that sometimes it doesn't go the way we think it might, but you have to continue striving, and I think that's the thing. Whether unfortunately he lost his life, but some people don't lose their life and they stop striving, and I think that's a lesson within that, so we have to carry on and do as much as we can. So
yeah, 100%. I think with us as well, because we lived our whole life in Islamabad. We saw the life of our fathers, of our neighbors who worked tirelessly for the Jamaat all the time. But at the end of the day, Allah Ta'ala is the one who chooses who goes back to him and when their time is up. And Sabur was mentioning before about how people in Ghana, they feel very distraught and at unease about what's happened because it's happened in their own country, and they may feel like they weren't capable or they weren't able to take care of him, and that's the reason of the loss. And I remember feeling the same when Riza passed away. All of us on the hike, we all felt like this was our fault. This was something which was done through our mistakes or our weaknesses. But as soon as all we wanted to do was to go and see Huzur, to go and see how Huzur comfort us. And the first words that Huzur said, which literally lifted all of the burden and all of that stress off our shoulders, was that this was the will of Allah and there's nothing that you could have done to have changed it. And as soon as he said this, we just felt like all this burden has just come off our shoulders, that there's no need to blame ourselves anymore, because no matter what we could have done, the same result would have happened. And I know that this is a natural thing to go through. If anyone has experienced it, you always think of a million scenarios that you could have changed. But at the end of the day, it's who are we to choose what Allah wills? And in essence, if this does happen to anyone, we should only be grateful that Allah has chosen them, and consider ourselves lucky to have ever known them or ever shared any memories with them. And I feel like this is kind of the same situation, because he was such a great example. He was living amongst us and was able to reach that level of level of love for Allah Ta'ala. So if you can send a message to them that whenever it's the will of Allah, we can't do anything about it. We should only learn from what's happened, and at the end, Allah's going to control what happens after that. So yeah, Jazakallah Huda, Jazakallah guys for contributing to that. There's so many other things that we can mention, but this is one of the khutbahs where you can listen to it again and pick out so many things that we ourselves need to work on. When Riza passed away, one of the quotes which Rasul said was that his friends should learn from his good qualities and inculcate them into their lives. And this will be a way of them fulfilling their pledge to Allah Ta'ala. So all the qualities which were mentioned today in the Friday sermon, if you did miss it, then try go over it again. Try and read the summaries and pick out the things where you feel that you can definitely work on and try to improve. Because at the end of the day, we don't know how long our lives are, and we don't know what people will remember us by. So try and make it something good, and develop your relationship both with Allah and both with the Khalifa, because these are really the things that we're going to take away with us afterwards. So Jazakallah, I think we'll just stop there. As I said, we can talk so much about it, but Jazakallah everyone for contributing to that conversation. It's really, for me, it's something which is really inspirational and emotional, because as a Waqf Zindagi myself, I look at these people as my example and where I should be and where I can be and how far behind I am. So everyone should try and learn from these examples as well, because Azrul's put so much effort in to deliver this khutbah. So we too should try and put some effort in to try and better ourselves in the best way that we can, inshallah. So now we'll just move on to our next segment, which is the Khuddam news. So just pass over to Qasim for now. So Qasim, give us the latest news, what's happening around the world, please. Jazakallah.
All right, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Khuddam News, yay. And it's a new version. I hope everyone's excited. So yeah, this is just a test phase. We might change it depending on how people review it. So I have a new feature. I hope you're excited. I mean, this needs no introduction. So, I mean, we all know about Taleh Sahab, who was martyred. I think with the sermon, one of the very interesting quote Hazur said, he said, "Ek hira chala gaya," which means a gem has kind of left. And I think that's a really good quote that Hazur said. So I mentioned it here. And I think he also said in the beginning that Taleh Sahab not only is the first martyr in Africa, I think he's also the first Waqf to be martyred, but do correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that's what I heard, right. So yeah. All right, now going to Great Britain. Good news, schools are back. Bad news, schools are back as well. So schools aren't infection hubs, says public health boss. Schools are not drivers or hubs of COVID inspection, which the medical director has said. He's also said that while about 32,000 pupils have been affected with COVID and been absent in school last week. So that's pretty sus. Informative news. This will be a bit short, Khuddam news. So, oh wow. So with this, climate change, disposable barbecues, a modern menace. So shops should stop selling disposable barbecues because they are a truly modern menace to climate change. What they found is a lot of the issues with this is, first of all, obviously it's pollution because it's just one use and you'll throw it away. Second, it also kind of, wherever you place it, it destroys the ground underneath. And especially if you keep it around trees and plants, it could cause a fire. So the alternative is to buy reusable and recyclable barbecue stands, and use those instead. Entertainment news. Danger Man returns. So Tom Cruise BMD stolen during the Mission Impossible filming in the city center in Birmingham. Now this picture on the top right should give you a very clear idea why it was stolen. They were too busy taking pictures. It was recovered in Smethwick about a bit later, and when what they found was they found the car, but the baggage and everything was stolen, which meant that the expensive 100,000 car isn't the important thing. His luggage was. Oh, also there's news about the film getting delayed due to COVID spike. So Top Gun, Maverick, and Mission Impossible, they're gonna get delayed. Sports news. Since the Premier League is starting, you know what that means. It is stats time, because who doesn't like stats? So looking at the board, it's obvious. I mean, Tottenham Hotspur are leading with 3 wins, with West Ham United coming second, and then Manchester United coming in third. In terms of goals, Michel Antonio has done the most goals, and he's done 4 goals. A weird thing I've noticed, we look down, the player numbers is 5, 5, 5, 5, and it goes around for like 7 players in a row. So I don't know what's happening there. Like, how is it only the players number 5 are getting the goals? Also, future games in 11 September, we're gonna get quite a lot of 8 games happening. I think more, but that's all I managed to screenshot. So, Ronaldo, he breaks the men's international scoring record with 110th and 111th goals, and he hit this 110, 111 in their dramatic 2-1 World Cup qualifying win over Republic of Ireland. And yeah, he managed to break a record. So yeah, science news. Yeah, highly polluted leaded petrol now has been eradicated from the world, says United Nations. So for a century, what has kind of leaded petrol, which has led to a lot of it can cause contaminate air, soil, and water for almost a century, and also can lead to lung diseases and heart disease. And finally, now it's been banned, and there's no more sales of leaded petrol anymore. Firefly Alpha explodes during first land. So just 2.5 minutes after liftoff in September, the airspace for the Alpha rocket literally ended in failure when it exploded. There's no debate here, but I just wanted to show you the kind of icon and everything. So yeah, with every news, there's always misfortune, and we're gonna get so first of all is the Hurricane Ida, which is hitting the east coast of USA. So parts of Louisiana and Mississippi has been left devastated. And on the right, we can see a lot of pictures of the before and after images, and you can see the damages that have been done, like houses are being flooded. And this just shows the satellite imaging that shows the power failure. So left and then right, you can easily see how suddenly everything just shut off. Oh, and now we move on to the last segment, Jamati news. New advertisement. Have you written a letter to Zoo? If you haven't, do try to write. I've actually been writing letters to Zoo weekly, and literally at the start of the year, I had the resolution that I'm gonna start writing letters to Zoo weekly. Now, Marshall, I've been doing that for the whole kind of so far, so I haven't missed a single week. Also, we went paintballing about 2 weeks ago, and congrats to Red Team for dominating all 4 games and 8 rounds. And a lot of pain was received. I still have that mark I got in my hand from getting hit, and it still hasn't disappeared. I don't know if it's permanent or not. Also, we had our regional Khadam Hub, which is a part of the National Ijtima that is coming up. So it first began with us going to University of Wolverhampton and doing dua, obviously. And then we had sports. We had cricket, football, and badminton, and everyone enjoyed that. After that, we went to Dar Bakat to have a barbecue, and that was really delicious. And then there were a lot of discussion corners, speeches, and shows. We had a Kahoot quiz as well. And mashallah, Birmingham West dominated that as well, with stealing first and second place. Aside from that, we also got an opportunity to write letters to Azur and kind of play PlayStation and football, FIFA. I think they play that. I'm not sure. Also, finally, ending this off with this week with Azur.
Going age. अस्सलाम वालेकुम प्यारे हुजूर, मेरा सवाल है कि कोरोना की वबा की वजह से काफ़ी जमाती प्रोग्राम मुनक्किद नहीं हो सके, तो इस साल अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह जल्द सालाना यूके भी मुनक्किद हुआ है। तो मैंने पूछना था कि आपको कैसा फील हुआ था, मतलब कैसे आपने महसूस किया है 2 साल बाद फिर से जल्द सालाना मुनक्किद करके?
महसूस किया, जलसा सालाना हो गया, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह पढ़ा, अल्लाह ताला का शुक्र अदा किया कि उसने चाहे छोटे पैमाने पर सही लेकिन तौफीक दी। लेकिन ये है कि ऑनलाइन इस जलसे को जो दुनिया ने MTA के ज़रिए से जमातों में मुख्तलिफ जगहों पर इकट्ठे होके जमा होके भी सुना और दूसरे घरों में भी बैठ के सुना और घरों से मुझे लोगों ने लिखा कि हमने तो घरों में भी इकट्ठे होके सुना और वही माहौल पैदा करने की कोशिश की, लंगर का आलू गोश्त बनाने की कोशिश की, लंगर की दाल बनाने की कोशिश की। इस जमाती तौर पे तो वैसे ही हो रहा था इंसान। तो इसमें भी जो मेरी रिपोर्ट्स हैं उसके मुताबिक तो लाखों लोगों ने जलसा सुन लिया। गैदरिंग के जो इकट्ठे एक जगह जमा होकर मुख्तलिफ जमातों में सुना वो भी लाख से ज़्यादा ही होंगे। तो इस लिहाज से अल्लाह ताला ने इस कोविड के बाद एक ब्रेक थ्रू किया और आइंदा इंशाल्लाह रास्ते खुल गए। ये जो ख्याल था कि अब जलसे पता नहीं कब होंगे कब नहीं होंगे और मायूसी सी एक कैफियत, एक यास की कैफियत तारी हो गई थी जमात के लोगों में, वो दूर हो गई। और वो जब दूर हो गई तो जाहिर है खुशी होनी थी उससे मुझे, ठीक है। और मेरा ख्याल है तुम लोग भी खुश हो गए होगा, नहीं हुए? बस फिर
All right, that's from Hazur. So yeah, back to this. Yeah, sorry, I don't have a finishing page, so I'll make that next week. Jazakallah for listening.
Jazakallah Qasim, Jazakallah for the update. It was really nice mentioning the different items of news and liking the new design as well, mashallah. Always try to improve the department you guys are in. Remember that, guys. Okay, Tika, I think that's about it. We'll just go to Kahoot now. So we have one small Kahoot to play and I'll just load that up. I'll be doing it from my screen today. So we have 15 questions. I don't know how many people have, actually it's probably a new one, so yeah.
I thought we're doing the feedback on the hub, the regional hub.
Oh yeah. Did Qasim not do it? Tika, 1 second. Tika. So yes.
Well, what was that? Did you say something?
No, I was saying you spoke about the regional hub, so it's a good way to talk about the next bit for a bit. So we had a few roles in the hub, especially the Khuddam night section, which I'm really proud of everyone, mashallah. 2 guys in particular I want to ask is Kashif and Saqib, because you guys were mashallah doing really well at the back of the hall. So Saqib, could you talk a bit about your bit first? How was your experience in your department that you were running? And what was the feedback from everyone? Saqib?
Yeah, sorry, I'm here.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
The feedback on that was pretty good. I was telling my friends and stuff that I did that. I was like pretty proud of it. And you yourself said, "Oh, mashallah, Saqib, you did a really good job at it," and all that, which I did like. It was pretty decent.
What were you doing? Tell us what were you doing.
Right now, before this.
No, tell us what you were doing in the.
So I saw some kids like sitting down on the chair by themselves, right? So I was like, okay. I went up to them. I was like, okay, why don't you come here for a second, write like a letter to for like 5 minutes max. Like, oh, I wrote one 2 days ago. No. I was like, come here. It's good. Did you write one again? Like, no, I'll write it when I get home. I was like, no, do it here. It'd be better. And then they wrote it down. I was like, okay, there's a template here. It's easy and done for you. So they came. And me and Kashif came up with an idea afterwards where 4 people go on the PS4 first, and then they'll have to come write a letter to Zur. If they don't, then obviously they'll feel bad by themselves anyway. But mostly everybody did come back and all, which is good. I enjoyed it very much.
I think it was a good technique, putting FIFA next to writing letters to Zur, so you managed to get more people in. I think we've got over 60 people who wrote letters to Zur that day, so it's a great achievement, mashallah. And Kashif, I think Kashif, you were next to him as well, weren't you?
Gee, I was next to him. Gee.
How was it manning the FIFA on the day? It's not a popular segment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hectic, but most of them were spectators, and most of them didn't know how to play. So, like, there's only like 10 people who knew how to play, then other were just spectating. And but I also get told the spectators, like the people who couldn't play, just like play like how much you can, then at least you participated in it. So that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I think the main thing in those situations is engagement and just keeping them
Because there were
focused on
people just
something and not
sitting there.
losing them.
They were enjoying by watching. I was like, okay, what's the point just watching it? I was like, okay, you may as well just play, even if you can't. Just have a try. Yeah, even good. Even good.
Yeah, it's good, mashallah. In the future, inshallah, we'll have bigger team. And so when people are sitting down watching FIFA, we have conversations with them and just talk to them, just to get to know them as well. So one of the main things about having FIFA and stuff is talking to the young guys and seeing how they're doing. But mashallah, you both did really, really well. I'm really proud of you guys. So Jazakallah. Zarab, how do you find the original Shema? How was it? Such a long time.
It's good, man. I do have a question after this to Kashif and Sak, but yeah, it was good. I think it was the first proper event. I don't think it was. It was the first proper event in person. Everyone could come alive. Everyone's can be social again. Because I think even me sitting at home, I've lost social skills of how to talk to people. When you just go out, you just don't want to talk to anyone. But being there, talking to everyone, seeing the faces, it was nice. It was just nice being in person. I like the socialism.
Yeah. So you soaked in the environment, made the most of it.
Yeah. My question was, why
that's one of the things. Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, Robbie, what did you say?
I said you asked your question.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, why they're twins, right? Why do they have different accents?
You could only ask them. I can't ask them.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, are you a Sakim come from America? A Sakim come from America?
Nah.
No, I'm not. No.
Oh, you got an American accent. Kashif's got a Dudley accent.
Dudley. No,
Birmingham North, mate. Birmingham North.
No, that's it. Yeah.
To this day, I don't know why Sakim has an American accent.
Okay, well, that's all my question.
I don't think
I was worried what his question was gonna be. Then I thought it was some personal question or something.
Sakim, do you know you have an American accent or Canadian accent?
I had a meeting with because I got picked to do the mulfazat on the mulakat, right? And then the person was like, "Oh, I need to ask you one question. Are you from the States?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Are you born here?" I was like, "No, I was moved here when I was 7." He's like, "Okay, you've got an accent. It's different." I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "Yeah, it's mashallah, it's really good. I don't know how you got it, but it's really good." I was like, "Okay."
So you've never been to America? This doesn't make sense. This is like me making up one day with an Australian accent.
Let's see what Hazur says in the mulakat.
Oh my god.
I'm sure he's gonna say something. Bless you, inshallah. Mashallah, it's good. Anyone else? I think it's fine. I think a bit as well.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
You know the chit chai session? I think was that what it's called?
Chit chat chai.
Yeah, I didn't see any chai.
Can I say there was no chai?
Yeah, that's my question.
I know. I'm just saying that wasn't my section. But I was just Khuddam, like the chit chat chai was separate. I think it's just a name, yeah. I don't think it's supposed to be
okay.
What it is. Everyone was saying that as well. It was a good session, but where's the chai?
I think they baited us, They baited us.
Yeah. They just tried to keep you there longer than they should have. Otherwise, there would be no one left for the final session. Everyone would have gone. Inshallah. TK, guys. I think we'll play Kahoot now and just call it a day, inshallah. TK, if anyone has anything else to say, we'll stay offline. So today's code, I don't think that many people will join, but whoever can join, 339-8195. So do try to join. Let's have at least 3 or 4 players doing it, please.
Okay.
Zishan, how are you doing? Zishan, you okay? So I didn't get to talk to you today. If you're able to talk.
Assalamualaikum, better now, Jazakallah.
Alhamdulillah. Is your foot recovering now?
Yeah, I can walk now, and yeah, I think it's recovering. Quickly.
Okay, so football tomorrow, yeah?
Not 13.
MashaAllah. No, it's good, mashallah. Happens in football, unfortunately. But don't stop playing, Tiga. Carry on playing.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. Chalo, Chit Chat Pie has left. Are you coming back, Chit Chat Pie? Should we
That
start?
was me, Murabbi Saab. I felt silly.
All right, we'll just get going. At least there's a guaranteed position for all of you. It's not going to take long, just 15 questions. They're good questions though. First question is, what color is polar bear skin? What color is polar bear skin? Oh, that's quick. Yeah, it's actually black, not the fur, the skin.
Wow.
I'm sure there's a scientific reason behind that. Next question, how many houses are there in the world?
So they absorb
1 billion.
That's right.
1.2 billion. Yeah, that's a good. 1.3 billion, 1.4 billion. 1.2 billion. No one got that right. So, next question. What was the name of the promised Messiah's father? Was it Mirza Ta Muhammad, Mirza Gul Muhammad, or Mirza Ghulam Murtaza? Yes, boys, well done. MashaAllah. How many lions die in a year? 900, 700, 600, 400. 600. Well, good animal facts there, mashallah. Next question, which animal has yellow blood? Seahorse, sea cucumber, vampire squid, the Dumbo octopus. Need to search some of these. Sea cucumber. I don't know what that is. What is the translation of this hadith? Khairu zat taqwa. The best provision for a journey to the hereafter is righteousness. Modesty is the best virtue. A pious person learns from others' mistakes. Khairu zat taqwa. Yeah, the best provision for the journey to the hereafter is righteousness. Yes, Zaryab, got that one.
I taught it yesterday to my fault.
What is the name of this fish? Balia blobfish, yeah. I think it's written on the tin, isn't it? True or false? There are 13,000 cities in the whole world. False. There are about 10,000 cities in the whole world. Next question. When was the Holy Prophet ﷺ born? October 645 AD, July 570 AD, August 570 AD, February 645 AD. Yes, it was 570. Always remember 570 AD, guys, and in August. 10th question. What was the Turkish city of Istanbul called before 1930? Normal, Constantinople, Quintilope. Yep. Orthograph, people will know that. Good job. What is the most sold flavor of Walker's crisps? Ready salted, cheese and onion, prawn cocktail, or none of the above? Yes, cheese and onion, blue packet. Good job, smashing it today. Walker crisps always expire on a Saturday. I don't know how true or false this is. Apparently it's true. So if you buy it on Friday, it's going to expire the next day. Okay, 13th question. What was the answer to question 11? What color was it? Memory test, blue, red, green, yellow. Keep an eye on the color that's written. Trick question there, Kashif Mashla. Total guess probably. Okay, where is the deepest swimming pool located? China, Egypt, Dubai, or none of the above? Where is the deepest swimming pool located? It was in fact Dubai. Mashallah, two of you got it right.
Anything the
Hisham, you
highest,
not
deepest, or the widest, probably Dubai.
Anything the most.
Anything
Dubai.
extravagant.
Yeah. Last question How many wives the Prophet have in total? Like that. There was 2 wives. MashaAllah. Not at the same time, but yeah. Take everyone got a position, I think, apart from Chit-Chat Chai. Zishan third, second Kashif, and first Zaryab. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Brilliant. Jazakallah Zaryab, everyone. Everyone, inshallah. We're going to try to do Khuddam night in person very soon.
Which
maybe
mosque would
next
it
week.
Murisa?
Inshallah, all the mosques that we have. We're going to rotate around, inshallah.
Okay.
We're going to rotate.
Okay.
Inshallah. I'll let you guys know. ठीक है. Okay, guys. Kashif, Zaryab,
Assalamualaikum.
everyone.
Thank you,
Saqib,
Mursa.
Zishan,
Assalamualaikum.
Take care, guys.
Assalamualaikum.